Oh man, I for one am glad the 4th of July is come and past. I love the holiday. Go fucking America. America. Um but now I don't have to just see red, white, and blue everywhere I look. And, I don't think that makes me less of a patriot, but I just sometimes the color scheme's played out.
Sometimes the patriotic thing to do is to be ungovernable, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, same.
It's what this country's founded on, damn it.
It is what this country's founded on.
Anyway, moving on.
Welcome, Flickers, to a very, very special episode of Far Out Flicks. This is the inaugural, the first, the hottest, the freshest bonus content episode in the podcast world right now. Certainly in the continental U.S. We have been talking about doing this for months, which is eons in terms of my attention span and willingness to pursue something. And here we are finally delivering it to you. And it's not just bonus content, it's a interview, which we'll get to in a second. Braden's going to break that one down for us. But also, it is the launch of our Patreon. So, Flickers, we beg you, give it a check out. Lots of cool perks, more to come. Merchandise. Early access, maybe someday, if we can get our shit together, to episodes. But certainly, bonus content episodes. This one's for free, because we want to get you hooked. Like a dealer wants to get you hooked to his product. But, yeah.
All the time, people are asking us, how can we support you more? Where can we send our donations? Now we have a place.
So we have 3 tiers. There is the entry-level tier, Flicker Acolyte. There is the medium-level tier, the Flickmaster. And then
my favorite one of all.
Our favorite one of all, Troy tier.
Troy tier.
At Troy tier, you are our most dedicated and beloved followers. Troy tier.
That's the one.
TT, double T squared.
Be like Troy. And it's at patreon.com/faroutflixpodcast. That's how you could get the Far Out Flicks bonus episodes, and it'll just show up in your normal podcast app. The episodes will be right there.
Bingo. And more to come.
Just for $5 a month. That's all we ask. It's like less than $1 an episode, maybe.
Yeah, if like 2 of you do it, it'll at least cover our hosting fees.
That's all we want, is just make this be less of a net loss.
But merchandise, as part of the Troy tier, you will, once we have it ready, which might take some time, because we're still waiting on final designs. But you will get some merch, some sweet merch.
And Troy, if you're listening to this, you're getting a shirt. You're getting a free one.
But anyways, back to the content itself. I'm just so excited that we're doing this finally. Stop wiggling.
I loved this movie. The movie we did this week for this bonus episode. Holy shit. Independent film called Fingerlakes Grindhouse presents Till Death Do Us Part. It is
a love story guaranteed not to suck.
A love story guaranteed not to suck.
One of the integral members of the cast reached out to us and just wanted to know if we'd check his film out. Anything with Grindhouse, I'm pretty much already hook, line, and sinker. So I said, yeah. He sent us some copies, some posters, and we just... It defied all expectations.
We were blown away.
We loved it.
Blown away.
It was a damn good time, and it's my privilege and honor to have hosted these guys on our podcast.
We're not going to spoil this movie because we really want to get some eyes on this film. We had a blast watching it. We had a few beers while we were watching it, and
a couple brews.
We were laughing the whole damn time. Again, far exceeded any expectations. It's not for children. It's not safe for work. There's a lot of boobies in it and
more. Don't watch this with your mom.
Unless your mom's cool as hell.
she would have to be a really, really cool mom. And even then, I don't know. But maybe some moms are cool enough. My mom isn't.
Like, it's just, this movie needs to be famous. Please help us make this movie famous. All I want is for more people to watch this. I feel like we're just so overstimulated in today's age. There's just so much content out there that a lot of it kind of gets lost in the noise. Mm-hmm. This is one of those things that if just people saw it, it would go viral. It would it should have its own place in cult film history. That's my humble opinion.
I agree, and I mean, the only way you become a cult film is you gotta have a little slow cook. Like it's gonna take time for it to get to that status. But I think that ultimately, Till Death Do Us Part has all the essentials, everything that you need to potentially reach that level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but the guy eats cat food.
That's just all right. That's all you get, fans.
It's a zombie film. We could at least say it's a zombie film.
It's got. I mean, check out the trailer. They have one on IMDb, as well as YouTube. But it's got swamp monsters. It's got zombies. It's got strippers. It's got like. What else do you want in a film?
The special effects are so well done. Practical effects. I was blown away that like a guy made this in his house. And that guy is Anthony Clark Pierce, and he's kind of my hero. I just have so much admiration for anyone who kind of makes that leap and becomes an auteur overnight almost. I mean, he did. You'll hear it in the interview. We'll get into all the history there, but this guy really, this was his passion project, and it took him 4 years to make this. And he raised all the funds himself. He did it all. It's really kind of inspiring.
It truly is. I think that it views and displays like a film far past its budget. And damn it, I wish I could have said that, earlier to him when we had the privilege of interviewing him. But at that, folks, and without further ado, the interview.
Enjoy.
Welcome, guys. We're very excited today to have two esteemed production members, two of the most important production members of Fingerlakes Grindhouse's Till Death Do Us Part.
We watched this movie. You guys sent us DVDs, and it far exceeded any expectations. I want to say, like, how you guys deserve a lot of credit. How is this not more well known? It's basically like a modern Evil Dead or something.
Well, it just got released, to be honest with you. We premiered it at the Finger Lakes Drive-In back in October. And then after that, we did a tour of like the horror conventions and the monster shows, selling DVDs. DVDs are kind of an outdated, product at this point. But we sold a bunch of DVDs, and we just recently got it available online for download and rent. Fingerlakesgrindhouse.com. It's available. And so now we're doing the podcast and just trying to get the word out there, and hopefully other people feel the same way about it that you do, and we can get a following and pay the rent.
they shall, Anthony. I can tell you they shall.
They will. I recommend watching this one. A few beers, maybe a few bong rips. I must say, it was one of the most disgusting movies I've ever seen.
That was the goal when I set out, man. I wanted to make the darkest, goriest, thing that I could possibly create. Because I did all the effects, we wrote it. I mean, we did everything ourselves. We started about 4 years ago. It took about the first year was, writing, making all the puppets, the props, the sets, trying to figure out who was going to play what. I never had any intention of being the male lead in it, but as you saw, I couldn't get anybody else to do the thing. I had to do it myself. You know what I mean? I couldn't ask.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just have to do it
wrote it, directed it, acted in it. Dominic and I, cut it and did the sound. And it was a long, took about 4 years from start to finish. That was from the time I was like, I want to make a movie, hand me an index card and a pencil, you know what I mean? And start writing down ideas to the time I'm, putting it on the internet and doing the monster shows. It took about 4 years. We had COVID, and we lost a year in COVID though. So
Yeah,
so
that's rough.
we only filmed over the course of 90 days, so it was only a 90-day shoot. But there was all the writing, the sets, and then the editing, the sound, and it's just, and we're doing this in our spare time again. You know what I mean? It was a night. We do it at night, on the weekends.
Sure.
This is it's a little.
Yeah, true.
Thanks. Yeah,
project.
it was definitely. It was definitely a passion project.
So I guess maybe introduce yourselves and what your roles were in the film before we get too much further. And
Okay. My name is Anthony Pierce. My monster movie name is Anthony DeBone. That's the name I go by on Facebook and the social media stuff. And I wrote, directed, and produced this movie Till Death Do Us Part, and did the effects. And now I'm out hustling it, man, trying to get it out there. So, it's like, I was like, yeah, film school 101. And now I'm in marketing. I'm in the marketing part of it.
Marketing 101.
In marketing.
How long had you wanted to make a horror movie, a monster movie? Like,
well, I went to school at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for movie special effects back in 92, 93.
mm-hmm.
And while I was in college, Jurassic Park came out, and everything was kind of starting to go towards computers. And when I graduated, one of my professors pulled me aside and said, hey man, you probably ought to think about maybe going to like Vegas or New York City or Orlando, where there's still going to do, theme parks and stage, because, Hollywood's starting to drift toward this computer thing. So I ended up down in Orlando working for the theme parks, doing, set design and that kind of stuff. And then over time, I just slowly ended up in the sign business. That's a story for another time, but ended up in the sign business. And then, when the kids got out of school and graduated, and I was, what am I doing? That was the time to make the movie. You know what I mean? And we gutted our house and we started writing everything. Yeah. Our living room, that VIP room in the strip club, that was our living room for 2 years. Because we would,
and here I was hoping that was an actual strip club that I could visit. But
we'll hang over at the house, hang out at the house if you want. And then the manager's office was our spare bedroom upstairs. And so we could like film, and then literally everybody could just stop what they were doing, leave the lights, everything, and just walk away. And we could literally like pick back up the next weekend. You know what I mean? So
that's nice.
It made it a controlled environment that we weren't forced. Oh my God, wrap up, clean up the blood, all that. We could just leave everything and come back to it again later. And that's how we just chipped away at it, little bit at a little bit, scene after scene after scene.
Right on.
All right, another easy one. What is your favorite color ooze and or blood effect to use? I really like the orange chemical. I just want to say that something about it, just like I want to touch it, I want to play with it, I want to roll around in it.
When the milk was coming out of the side of the tip. That was disgusting and awesome.
That was a good one. In the spinal column, when it comes out of the spinal colum, that was.
That was cum.
The money shot. The money shot.
That was cum.
The cat and the cat. I don't want to give away too much, but the cat in the beginning, that one was fun. I really enjoyed that one.
The cat
people, every time they see it, like, did you really do that? Like, I can't tell you, man. You're just gonna have to watch.
That was a good effect.
Yeah, full send.
That was a really good effect.
Thanks. That was all done in the camera, man. And if I told you how it was done, and then you watched it again, you'd be like, oh my God, it's such a simple little trick, but it's so effective. I don't tell anybody, but it's such a, I was really happy with the way that one came out.
Heck yeah. And Dominic, what was your role in the film?
I was editing, and I kind of came into the project. Tony just built an editing bay and wasn't getting it to work, so I came in. I've always been kind of a tech guy, and I got it to function. And then after that, kind of started doing the editing for the film and helped with the production and went through. And
he was the right hand man in this entire thing. Anything they had to do with a computer, I'm basically, this guy handled all of that stuff, man. This guy couldn't have made it without this guy over here. This guy was instrumental in the whole production of this thing, man. Absolutely.
So what inspired you to do all this? I mean, was it something you had in mind back from your
Well, I always wanted to make a movie. You want me to be straight with you? All right, so I had to quit drinking. This movie is very meta. I'm basically playing myself. I had to quit, and I had to do, quitting drinking is kind of a big thing. Yeah, it's what am I going to do with all this time? What do I do? So I basically threw myself into this movie, and that's, you want a beer, go work on the movie. Go, friends invite you to the bar, fuck that, go work on the script. You know what I mean? And that's that's how I kept my mind busy. And it didn't happen immediately. There's little, depending on the color hair ribbon I have in my hair, is like if I'm drinking or not. There's little things in the movie that signify, you can tell when I've stopped, because I quit drinking about halfway through it. I actually stopped. I'm sober because of this movie. The whole movie is a metaphor for me killing off the alcoholic version of myself. Does that make sense?
That does. That's
okay.
Very cool.
Now that you know that little, yeah. So that's the underlying. Everybody's playing themselves. My cousin, the guy in the movie that owns a strip club, he's really a pornographer. His name's Rob Black. You can look him up. Like everybody, it's everybody's playing it straight.
Oh,
that's the only way, because I wasn't really using actors. I was just using my friends. So they all had to be, bartenders, or, my wife is an ex-stripper. My wife is my wife in the movie. She's here somewhere out in the garden doing something. I don't know, but if you want to interview her, she's here as well. So yeah, that was kind of that was the motivation. I mean, I wanted to make a movie, but at the same time, why I was doing it. And, when I was writing it, it was all written in real life, other than the zombies and the swamp creatures and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
very cool.
The whole thing is a metaphor for.
I would like to extend congratulations to
well,
sobriety.
Thanks, but I still want you to know I still smoke weed, and you know what I mean. If you handed me some mushrooms, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're not a psychopath.
I will eat all the mushrooms
crazy,
in the bag.
but...
I just don't drink anymore. So you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I can still hang out. I'm not a cop or anything, but I just no more alcohol. No more alcohol.
Yeah, sure. My little brother is actually 1 year sober, and just from drinking.
Yeah. I didn't do any meetings. But, I didn't do any of that. I just, like I said, I just did it myself.
He doesn't either. He just looked at his credit card statements for like a year, and he was like, "Holy shit!"
It's cool now. Yeah, your money stays right where it was the night before. Not, yeah, that's one of the pros of giving up the booze.
It's a big tip of the hat, though. And
oh well, thanks. Yeah, it's when your blood. When your liver starts to go, it's easy to quit when your motivation is keep drinking or die. You know what I mean?
Sure, but it's beautiful that this work was a vessel for which you were able to get to where you are now, and that's it's another little little chef's kiss about this work.
That's how it came to be.
I have to say, my favorite scene, the one that sticks out to me the most, I don't know why. You're eating the cat food from the Strippers for Strays, and you say, almost out of cat food, almost out of drugs. And it's just like the saddest moment.
he really ate cat food. That was a.
And there's one scene where I open it up and I'm like, and there's a gag, and that is real. The rest of the time we would use stunt cat food or whatever you want to call it.
Was that where you're drinking when you ate the cat food?
What's that?
I said, were you drinking when you ate the cat food?
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the first things. So when we were building all the sets and stuff, that's when I grew out the beard and grew the hair long and everything. So I was still drinking during that phase, the first year of production.
So did you do all these special effects yourself then?
Yes, I went to school. That's what I went to school for, was movie special effects. But it was back in the 90s. I was learning how to make rubber puppets and stone molds and stop motion animation, and Jurassic Park came out. So the skill set that I had used just immediately. But now the practical effects are kind of coming back around, and it's, now it has kind of a novelty value. It also gives me a super edge over other independent filmmakers. Because of
and we talk about it all the time, but practical effects just age better. I mean, some don't, some are bad.
Well, I wanted it to look like a puppet show. I mean, I definitely wanted it to look like a handmade movie, like that early 80s. That's what I was trying to do, because they don't make movies like that anymore. And I was trying to make a movie like it was all the effects as if it was made in 1983. I did everything as if it was. The movies that I loved when I was a kid.
It's a nice touch.
And you can see it's obvious when you watch that movie who I'm paying homage to as you go through it, because the whole thing is just one big homage piece to the effects, like that whole, I don't want to give away too much again, but that puppet in the end, that whole end zombie puppet. I mean, we all know where that came from. I looked up the schematics and how they made that one, and reverse engineered it, repainted it, and made it my own.
Awesome.
Well, It's a lot of fun. We're really glad that you
Well,
put
thanks.
in the
Yes,
effort on that
I'm very
effect.
proud of it.
That-
This is the thing I'm the most proud of, and so far in my life, this is the biggest accomplishment I've pulled off.
The
Maybe
magnum opus.
Yeah,
So far.
someday maybe we'll make another one. We'll see.
You got to. You have to.
Who are some of your like horror influences, or what are some of your favorite films out there?
Well, they're all old. You know what? Like all the old. I like monster movies. I don't like slasher.
That's
flicks,
what we
man.
do.
I can't get into all that Friday the 13th, people getting killed, and I like monster movies. You know, I like creatures and sympathy for the Frankenstein, that kind of stuff. To me, a monster movie is different than like a horror flick. It's like I just kind of like when I go to the horror shows and they come up Friday the 13th. Oh, you like Jane? They want to talk to me about this. Like, dude, it's just people killing people. I'm not into murder just for the sake of
I've
murder.
never been into that
It's,
either.
yeah. So my horror influence, like I like American Wolf and London, Return of the Living Dead. All that campy horror stuff from the Reanimator, all that Joe Bob Briggs stuff that he shows on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The fun stuff.
Yeah,
I don't like Cannibal Holocaust.
We are a big-
I'm gonna turn that off if that comes on. The one where they're killing the turtle and So I like campy horror, I guess you'd have to say. If it gets a little too realistic or something, I'm tapping out.
Yeah, I also have you ever listened to the podcast before? It's cool if you haven't, but we're gonna put you on the spot.
Well, no, the movie was completed, and I knew I was like, I got to start getting this movie out here somewhere. So I was going through podcasts on Facebook, and is the name. I like the name Far Out Podcasts. And then I went in, and then you were referencing the movie with the sailor. You had just done a review on the Lighthouse. And I was like, oh, that movie's crazy as fuck. The guy's jerking off to mermaids and da-da-da-da. So then I knew that if I sent you the movie, you probably wouldn't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have a problem with what I have created here. All these guys would probably dig it. So then I just...
Quite the opposite. We love
thank you very much.
It's
So
up
then
our
I
alley.
just popped a couple copies in the mail for you. And, I didn't know if I was going to hear back from you guys again, or if you're going to watch it. Who knows? You know what I mean? How people are going to receive this thing when you send it out. But yeah, I'm glad you guys loved it. And now here we are, talking about it. And I'll definitely be checking them out in the future. I feel like I know you guys personally now.
Yeah. Follow up, I was going to say, like, if you had heard, like, not even a theme, just a fact of the show and a fact of life is I love the schlock. I want all of the camp. I want all the gore. I want all of it. And like, yeah, somewhere in the back of my mind, I appreciate artsy films or stuff with big name studios behind it or whatever. But like at my core, I love the schlock. And yeah, man, like this film was for me.
Thank you, man. I love it. It feels good to hear that, because it's when we showed it at the drive-in, people we have a drive-in theater in our town, and so a lot of the townspeople came out to support it. And I was working the gate that night, and I see these people come in, and I'd be like, yo, man, how'd you hear about this movie? And they're like, oh, we just heard about it, thought we'd come out. And good luck, man. And anybody with kids, I wouldn't let in. Man, when it got to that right. Love scene, the lights just started turning on, and cars... Where's everybody? Because I've become so desensitized to this thing. I've seen it 1,000 times. Why is everybody leaving? Oh, that's right. This is a super fucking offensive.
We tried to add humor to it, though.
Yeah, so I get it. It ain't for everybody. So when I send it out, there's always this. They could like it. They could also turn it off. And I try to filter it out early, though. When we open with the cat scene, and if you know what I mean, if you don't make it past that, it's
not for you.
That is a good litmus test,
there you go, litmus test, exactly.
Well, it touched us in all the right places. We loved it. How did you?
Thank you very much.
How did you get this made? Did you fund this yourself?
Yeah, I did it with Well, because here's the beauty of it. I own a sign shop, and I went to school for movie special effects. And I was also a set designer for Universal Studios and Disney for 8 years. So I did all of this myself. I didn't have to. I wrote it myself. We did all the effects ourselves. The marketing, I can get all the movie posters, everything I print myself. I can do. It's like to do it all, man. We just did everything. We wrote it, directed it. We did a big scenic job for a water park down in Georgia. I don't know. I made some money, and I used that money, and I went out and bought all professionals, Black Magic cameras are good enough for what I was making. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then we built an editing bay, and Yeah, just slowly, because we'd reach certain points where, like, you know, oh shit, now I need an editing bay that's capable of this. Well, you know, the movie would shut down for 4 weeks because now I got to go make a whole bunch of signs to make enough money to build the editing bay. Then you build an editing bay, and then you got to learn how to use the damn thing. You ever open up any editing bay? It looks like the cockpit of a helicopter, dude. You got to learn how to edit. That's where this cat came. This guy's a computer. Yeah, so that's
a lot of work. And you're lucky that your wife was so supportive that she had your back through the whole process.
Yeah, put on all that stuff, all that makeup, covered in glop. Her living room was a strip club for 2 years.
It's every woman's dream to convert.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without her. That's for sure.
Yep.
It was because she co-wrote it with me, and when we
that's so cool. She just got a bunch of cool points.
Yeah, and those were all her friends, you know. So we would throw parties in the beginning because now we got a strip club in our living room. So we would throw parties, you know, you pour alcohol all over everybody, and you know, there's a strip club in your living room. It doesn't take long before girls are jumping around up on the stage. You want to be in a movie? Sign this piece of paper. You know what I mean? And then we would film the girls up on the stage, and then we would kind of like, you know, close off the doors and stuff. My wife would film some of it, whatever. And then I would bring in the guys, and they would leave, and then I would film all the cutaways of the guys. So the naked girls and the guys very rarely were in the same room. And if they are in the same room, it's probably their girlfriend and boyfriend.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how I kept all the nudity on set straight. I'm married. You know what I mean? I'm not in this for any other. For as much nudity as there was in there was very little drama.
We would have never assumed that you were making this film for like nefarious Weinstein-esque purposes.
I know, but when you're first like, hey, I'm making this monster movie, you need to come over to my house. It's got a lot of nudity in it. So it's a weird sell.
It is. It's probably tough for some people, but like the people who show up, that's the ones you want.
Yeah, it all worked out.
Oh man. So, what's next for Fingerlakes Grindhouse? I mean, I guess you're still in the middle of this.
So we just got it online so that you can download and rent it, and there's also DVDs still available. We're still putting the finishing touches on the website. So now I'm going to try to do a bunch of podcasts like this and just try to get the word out there. I'm starting to enter it into film festivals. And I'm probably just going to keep just hyping it for a year or two. And then we already kind of have a rough script for a next one. We've kind of already started it. But I want to see, honestly, I need to see this thing make a dime or two before I can first time I wanted to see if I could make a movie. I did it. It was done out of love and Second time around, I know what I'm doing now. I'm not looking to take anybody's money, but I need to know what you do with a movie when it's finished in order to monetize it. Because this movie cost $30,000 to make over the course of $30,000. You get what I mean?
Which is incredible, by the way. Like,
and so I know it looks like it probably costs 60, right?
Maybe more. I mean,
maybe even more.
Maybe even more.
But you know, when you go to those, like when I was going to the horror conventions and stuff, by the time you pay for the booth and you pay for the transportation and you're lucky if you break even on it. You know what I mean? You sell 100 DVDs and you're lucky if you break even. So that wasn't sustainable. So now I'm going to start doing the film festivals and doing the podcasts and Facebook ads and all that kind of thing. And then once I break even on it, I'll be excited again to start another one. Let me work this one a little bit.
I think you just need eyeballs on this thing.
But again, how do you do it? I don't know. What the hell do I know about?
It's a good question, especially in this day and age where people are just putting things for free on the internet. You're competing with free bullshit TikTok videos.
If it will boost your artist's ego, your DVDs and posters were pretty much the first material gain we have gotten from doing this podcast. Otherwise, it's just a long black hole of money and time, and like apparently, you know, like the only thing I can think is we're doing it for attention, you know, because we were starved of it.
It made it all worth it though, just to see that, you know.
You could ask him. It like absolutely made my day. I was so tickled pink when you reached out for one, and I also I loved it. It just made it all worthwhile. So that's my fan ode to Fingerlakes Grindhouse.
Oh, thank you very much. Deeply appreciate it. This is my wife, Lois, Veronica for the movie, just came in from the garden and have a seat. So if you had
Hello.
any questions for her.
Hi, Lois.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Doing well. We loved your performance in the film.
First time.
That was stellar. We were just telling Anthony how amazing it must be to have a wife who supported him through this whole process of converting the living room into a strip club and acting in the
Luckily
film.
enough.
That is support.
Covered in glop
Glop.
Luckily
Yes.
enough.
Slop.
for hours and hours.
Days and
Putting her
weeks
in
and
that
months and
rubber
years.
suit, man.
Shoo.
I never had to wear the rubber suit through the whole thing. She had to wear it. She was in that thing for, I don't know, 8 hours one day, man. It was
Wow.
brutal.
It wasn't that bad.
What a
She was
trooper.
definitely a
What a
sport. She
trooper.
was definitely a sport.
It wasn't that bad.
What was your
Well, I'm glad you liked
experience making this? Did you? How did
It
you?
was a lot of work.
Oh yeah, I bet it was. He said it took 4 years to. What was it? 4 years?
4.5.
Probably 4, yeah.
Eh.
But again, I hate
It's
saying
all a
it.
blur.
I know it really is. When we look back on I look back at the movie now, having stepped away from it, and I'm like, how in the hell did you like?
Exactly.
I was an obsessed madman for the whole time. I was like a possessed.
You have to be. Or
It's
it was-
all I fucking.
I would
thought
imagine
about.
it doesn't get
Don't
done.
don't go fucking stand next to Tony, man. All he's gonna do is try to recruit you for his movies. Fucking stay away from that guy's nuts.
To get anything
Yeah,
done,
I
you
was-
have to be.
I was
though.
driven, to say the least.
That's a. I mean,
Yeah,
it's.
the amount of commitment and just commitment
Yeah, this is me apply. I've never applied myself this
was.
to this.
Well, it's a
degree ever.
long-term
This is-
goal. I think you know there. I'm sure there were times you were tempted to just give it
Oh,
up
yeah.
or
Oh,
whatever.
Oh my
and
God,
you,
yes.
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah.
You reach a certain
That's why
after
a
a
lot of
certain
people
point
don't
though, it's
finish a
like,
movie.
I gotta, it's too late now. I'm
have
too
to
deep in.
past
I
the
gotta
point
go.
of no return. You've
Past
already.
the point of no
everyone in
return.
town knows that you're making this. You have to finish it.
Exactly.
And that point came early where it was you're on the ride now. You have to.
That's the best
Yeah,
way
we
to
had
do
booked
it.
a date. We had booked a date so the date set on October 15th. We had to have something on that screen. So the version that we threw out at the drive-in, I still didn't have scenes finished. Like that whole scene where she's running around the room is like a little half.
Didn't exist.
That wasn't in the original. The drive-in version, the movie wasn't done. Date was set. I padded it with boobs, and like it wasn't. It was a good movie, and if you watched it, you wouldn't
Dance
know. But
numbers.
the dance numbers were way too long because we had to get to 90 minutes. You know what
Right.
I mean?
If you're
So
gonna
then
put B
after-
footage in, it might as well be boobs.
Exactly.
I
We
thought
we
that's
just
what the police
padded it
stood
with
for.
strippers. People were like, damn, these strip scenes are long. I wanted you to feel like you were really in the club, whatever. So there's like a drive-in version, and I printed up a bunch of DVDs to give out to the cast and crew, and then that was the first edition, and then we recut it, and then we filmed some extra scenes, and that's the version that you have. But when we first put it out at the drive-in theater had like a blanket license for music, so I could use whatever I wanted because he was like, it's just a one-off music thing. I've got whatever the license, do what you want. So the fucking first version had a killer soundtrack, man. I had fucking Rob Zombie, 9 Inch
Nice.
Nails, great, right?
Stuff you'll never be able to use again.
Exactly.
One time only.
So then when the version that came out that you have, there's still a couple songs in
Oh
there.
yeah,
that
you
are-
had some Buffalo Springfield in there.
Yeah. Exactly. So I actually have
Dusty.
right now, there's a guy that's working on doing a completely original soundtrack. So that'll be ready probably in the next month or two. And then once that comes down, we'll replace it with the
So
with
there
the new
is a
version with the-
potential for this DVD to become kind of like one of those rare, sought-after, limited edition.
that I guess was the point of this. Yes, if you have
Yeah.
that first,
There are
if you
limited
have that
editions.
first, you want me to send you one of the first copies with the
Ooh.
original soundtrack? I'll send you one. I'll toss them in the mail.
Dude, if you,
Dropouts.
I'll send them in the mail on Monday, so you have both copies. Absolutely.
I
talk.
actually wanted to ask you guys, and this is just more me doing just creator service or whatever. But like, would you guys sign the DVD?
I knew you were going to say
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I'll sign it. I'll
Yes.
sign the.
that. And you'll have it
Yeah,
forever and
it's
ever.
the drive. So I'm going to send you the
Dude, I'll
drive-in
frame it
theater
and like
version.
put it on a
You can
wall.
love
I
it,
promise.
cut
Like
it.
I will do
There's
it.
probably only about 20 copies of that one left. I'll send out one for each of you.
After
guys.
we watched it, Andrew said the funniest thing to me. He was like, "I'm keeping this DVD forever. My kids will have to sort through this when I die."
That's so awesome.
It's a heck of
That's
a
such a
thing to
great
do to your
review. I'm
kids.
so glad you guys liked it. This is so awesome.
I'm gonna do this to my kids.
Yeah, so
Yep.
definitely check out the other version. You're gonna like the soundtrack.
They're gonna be
It's
like,
great.
"What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
What was he
even
hiding?"
More so. Even more so.
Dude, my kids are gonna know me. You know, I'm not gonna hide this side from my children. My hypothetical children that definitely do
Oh,
not
well.
exist.
Should we talk about the kids?
Sure. What? Tell
Yeah.
us.
The movie. His kids in it. My kids in it.
Oh,
That's not
everybody's
even-
in it.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So
Yeah,
the whole
it's-
family,
It was
affair.
literally, yeah.
It's a
Whoever I
family
could
affair.
get, man. Like when I was, because I wasn't. I
It
would
was
hold.
during
I would
COVID.
have two. I'd put two cameras, one on each person, right? Boom. So if they're having a conversation, and then I would just literally hold up cue cards, and I would just have them say it over and over and over again, and then I would jump over here, and then they would read their cue card, and then when you just, I don't know, man. Somehow I made it work. It was pretty crazy when I go back and I watch like the behind the scenes stuff. Oh my god. I want to make a movie just so I would see what it would be like to have somebody that walked on set and knew their fucking lines. I love all the actors and actresses in my movie. I mean, no
Didn't happen.
disrespect.
It didn't happen.
Thank you so much for
Well, we didn't
being in
have
my
all the
movie.
lines.
but at the same time, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine.
So, if you were hypothetically, or when rather, not if, when, because I'm going to insist that you do come back to filmmaking. Do you think your next film will be of like the Grindhouse style? Do you think you're gonna stay in like the monster feature kind of pool, or are you gonna branch out and see what
Oh,
else
he's going
crazy
for an
you
Emmy
can
on
do?
the next. Yeah.
The next one is about a
Washed up
A-
children's book author.
it's like a middle-aged children's book author who doesn't
Cool.
really like kids. He's really only in it because he wants to fuck the moms. So, but at the same time, he wants his book to do really, really well. And then there's gonna be a murder of some type, but I'm not sure if it's gonna
Probably
be
children.
the babysitter or if I'm actually gonna kill the fucking kids in the movie.
Kids, child death. We're a huge proponent for child death in films.
Right,
It's like-
but I'd have to do
Right,
it. I have to
educate.
do it campy. So I already have I don't even know. Should I get too much?
don't spoil it. Don't spoil.
Don't
was
spoil
gonna
it.
say, there's a lot of
Before I
stuff
started, this is also going to be a very meta film. Before I started doing this monster movie when my kids were young, I wrote and developed a children's book series called The Adventures of the Little Ones. And I've already got a line of books that I've self-published, and I've got a big mascot costume for it. And I've got this entire children's book series that I've developed and never did anything with. So I'm going to take that old failed idea and I'm going to apply it to a horror movie. And I'm going, in theory, I'm going to start signing up for like children's books conventions, and I'm going to set up and I'm going to put plants in the audience. And I've got a whole plan on how I'm going to do this whole next thing. But again, I got to see that there's
Sure.
We're not there yet.
Sure.
there's a something to do with the movie when it's done. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you just make a movie and you end up with a box of DVDs. You got. I just let me get this out of my system for a year, and then we'll revisit it. But in the meantime, like I said, we've got a script, and every once in a while it'll pop into my head like, "Ooh, here's an idea."
Awesome.
I'll write it down on an index card. So, maybe I can do it in 2 years once I get going on it.
Unfortunately, we're gonna run out of time, and this Zoom call is gonna kick us off.
Oh, really? I was having fun. I
I
could've done
know.
this all
Same.
afternoon.
It's damn you, free Zoom.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dominic's got to go to a birthday party, and this is all of his gear. So let's shut this down for now. We can do one in a couple days if you feel
Got
like
a
doing
few
another one.
seconds. Just remind everybody where they can find the film.
Fingerlakesgrindhouse.com. Fingerlakesgrindhouse.com.
Everyone go watch
Download
this.
and rent till death do us part. You're
Till
going to
death do
love
us
it.
part.
You will
Thank
love
you
it.
so much, Fingerlakes
Thanks for
Grindhouse,
having
for
us.
joining
It's been
us
a
today.
blast. Thank you again.
Been a lot of
and
fun,
I'll get that in
guys.
the mail for you on Monday. I'll toss the new copy out, the old copy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
And that, friends, was Anthony Pierce of Fingerlakes Grindhouse promoting his new movie, Till Death Do Us Part. Thanks for listening, and go to Far Out Flicks Podcast at patreon.com for more juicy, exclusive bonus content.